$11 billion was sold from the S&P 500 in the fears that this rate cut would be the start of a recession. However, I think that was a mistake, and I think short term, we are on the precipice of a large movement up. The reason why the fears of a recession was so strong in the market was because of data such as the ISM, which printed a very low mark, which indicates that the market is shrinking. Also, if we look at the unemployment, we see that non-farm payrolls, which is an indication of jobs created, is at the lowest point it has been for years. All of this points towards a recession. This combined with the constant news of recession around the corner, recession around the corner, recession around the corner, caused the $11 billion of stocks being sold in the S&P 500. But looking at the data, short term at least, it doesn't look like we're in recession territory yet. I mean, if the ISM goes down, which I really do predict that it will go down, then we could see those indicators showing a recession is imminent. I mean, if we look at historical data, this box area here, that area where the ISM data has pushed down into are usually areas where recessions have hit the US market. And if you look, we're not there. We're close, but we're not there. So what this is indicating is that short term, especially around the corner where there is a rate cut, it looks like there's going to be some positive movement. And we know that when it goes into those areas of the ISM data, it aligns with areas where there is usually a 30% drawdown in the S&P 500. This is why there was a large sell in the S&P 500 stocks, and why in things like Bitcoin and risk assets, there was a lot of risk off selling. But if we look at the S&P 500, we see that if you look at the major moving averages, it is nowhere near the moving averages. In fact, they're so far above it that the risk and the fear of this recession, short term at least, is not in the market as we speak. And if we look at the S&P 500 overlaid over the weighted S&P 500, which is all the stocks weighted equally amongst each other, we've seen that it's produced an all-time high. If we look at previous recession markers, we've seen that the S&P 500 was dipping below the moving averages, the major moving averages. This is not happening in the S&P 500 as we speak right now. And if we look at Bitcoin, we've seen that it's moved up and hit a bit of a resistance line, but we're seeing now a recovery back up, and we're seeing a higher low being created. Furthermore, if we look at the non-farm payroll, short term that is, where it is, yeah, it is the lowest created jobs for a very long time, but it isn't below the zero mark. When it usually hits below the zero mark and is now a downward trend, that is usually the markers of recessions. But we're not there. And if we overlay payroll with regards to the S&P 500, we see that it's almost an identical copy, within reason, obviously. So what this is showing is that, yeah, jobs are not created in the same levels as they were, but they're still being created. People's incomes are still rising in that manner, which in essence is fueling the S&P 500 and Bitcoin and other risk assets. So this fear of a recession that's coming through, I believe it's still going to happen. I still believe that the ISM is going to dip into that zone, which will mark a recession. I still believe that the non-farm payroll job creation is going to dip below that zero mark, and we will hit a recession. But I think that short term, there's going to be a pump. And I think this relieving of fiscal immobility and this rate cut that's coming, and now there's new understanding that the 50-point rate cut is a higher chance of it coming through, and on top of that, the new report that says there's going to be 9 consecutive cuts, I think will fuel the markets in a way that will cause a growth. I still believe there will be a recession, but I believe that this should, for the coming few months at least, be able to create a positive push up. Anyway, I'm Alvarez, a 7-figure crypto investor. Like, follow, share, save this video because it will help you for your future investment profile, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.